welcome back to the lecture series on performative gender and religions in South Asia. So, we are discussing Sanskrit dramaturgy and rasa theory. Today, we are going to start with a new topic of Nayak and Nayika as have been described in Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra. The word Nayak in rhetoric or dramaturgy means the hero of a poetic composition, which means the hero of a play or drama. In the Natya Shastra, Nayak has been defined as the one who relieves himself from any contingency and triumphs over all hurdles and appears to be the protagonist amongst all the other male characters of the play. Now, Bharat mentions in his work that there are four types of Nayak, primarily four types of Nayak. All four Nayak types have been identified among the qualities of Uttam and Madhyama, right? The superlative and the qualities that just come beneath or after the superlative. Uttam is the superlative and the qualities just beneath or after the superlative refer to the Madhyam varieties. So, the Nayak has been categorized or divided into the following. So, Dhirodhata referring to brave and haughty, Dhira Lalita referring to brave and sportive, Dhirodata referring to brave and magnanimous, and finally Dhira Prashanta referring to brave and calm. So, Dhira, the root word Dhira could mean brave, courageous, resolute and so on. So, Bharat Muni here is laying down four primal positions in the order of social rankings. This is to say that Bharata lays down that the gods are basically Dhirodatta, kings are Dhira Lalita, ministers are Dhirodata, and Brahmins and men from the business community are Dhira Prashanta. Bharat and Abhinavagupta do not talk about the attributes of these Nayaks. Rather, what they are doing are they are talking about the nature of the characters in accordance with their status. So, they are not directly describing Dhirodata, Dhiroprashanta, Dhira Lalita or Dhirodhatta. Rather, they are talking about the qualities, the ideal qualities that a king should have, the army leader should have, the chaplain, the minister, the secretaries, the judges, wardens of princes and courtiers should have. This is also to remind that Sanskrit tradition and Sanskrit literature art forms has this preoccupation with royal linkages, royal backgrounds. So, most of the characters are royal personages. These qualities ascribed to the different positions seem to be in relation with, like I said, the status of a person, the socioeconomic status that a particular person enjoys, and correspondingly certain duties are expected or required to be performed for that particular post. The king has a certain dharma or certain duties to be fulfilled in a society, similar for the minister, for the warden, for the prince, for the courtiers and so on. So, like I said already, neither Bharat Muni nor Abhinavagupta are describing the four types of Nayak. They are rather talking about some ideal features or characteristics for each of the social ranks or positions. From there, we are going to move on to the Naika or the heroine. The Ashta-Nayika is the collective term for Bharat's 8 types of Naikas or heroines. The 8 Naikas represent 8 different states or avastha in relation to the hero or the Nayak. So, the Natya Shastra describes the Naikas in the following order or against these different situations. First is the Vasaka Sajja. So, Vasaka Sajja is the heroine dressed up for the union, consummation. She is waiting for her lover to return from a long journey. She is shown in her bedchamber, which is adorned with lotus leaves and garlands. Next, we have Virahotkanthita. Virahotkanthita or Utka, and these are the terms described by Keshavdas. So, Virahotkanthita is the Nayaka that is distressed by separation from her lover. Viraha and Utkantha, right? Anxiety due to separation. She is the upset heroine that is pining for her lover, who because of some preoccupation fails to return home. She is shown as waiting for him, either seated on the bed or standing outside in the pavilion. The next type of Naika is Swadhina Bhartruka or Swadhina Patika. Swadhina Bhartruka or Swadhina Patika, this is also a name by Keshavadas. So, Swadhina Bhartruka is the type of woman who has her husband in subjection. She is the woman who is loved by her husband and she controls him. Her passionate affection, love and her attractive charms completely subdue the Nayak or her male counterpart. Next, we are talking about Kalahantarita. Kalahantarita or Abhisandita, another type that has been named by Keshavadas. So, Kalahantarita refers to the one that is separated by a quarrel with her Nayak. She is a heroine separated from her lover either due to a fight or because of jealousy or due to her own arrogance. So, Kalahantarita is frequently seen as leaving her apartment dejected, while she herself grows more and more heartbroken and remorseful without her hero. Next, we have the Khandita. Khandita is the enraged heroine. She's angry, she's furious with her lover. The lover had promised to spend the night with her, but instead he comes to her house in the next morning after spending the night, an amorous, night or venture with another woman. He spends the night with another woman and comes back next morning. So, Khandita is the enraged woman who is shown as irritated and she is very sharply rebuking her partner for his infidelity. Next, we have the Vipralabdha. Vipralabdha refers to the heroine that is deceived by her lover. She is a betrayed heroine who waits for her lover for the entire night. She is shown as throwing away her jewelry and she is distressed and completely broken since her lover has failed to honor his vow. He has failed to keep his word, his promise and come back to her. This occurs, the state of Vipralabdha occurs when a lover meets a Khandita, the enraged woman, and offers a tryst. However, he fails to keep his word. Next, we have the Proshita Vartruka. Proshita Vartruka or Proshita Patika, another name by Keshavadasa. So, Proshita Vartruka is the woman whose husband has gone away from her on a sojourn, on a journey for some business, and does not return on the appointed day. She's seen as sitting in a state of sadness, usually surrounded by her retinue, her servants or followers, but she refuses to be consoled. Next, we have the Naika, the type of Naika which is Abhisarika. Abhisarika, going on an Abhisar. She is a heroine who sets aside or who quits her modesty and moves out of her home to secretly meet her lover. She is represented at her front door. She is usually found at the front of her door, just leaving the precincts of domesticity and modesty behind her, and on her route to the tryst she needs to overcome many obstacles. These obstacles come on the way of the Abhisarika in the form of storm, snakes and woodland perils. The most famous, the most popular figure of Abhisarika is Radha or Radharani, going in the dead of the night to meet her lover, who is not her husband, Krishna. So, in art forms, Abhisarika is commonly portrayed often in a state of hurry towards her destination. So, the Naikas are broadly classified into two varieties of the Sringar Rasa. The rasa related to love, right? So, Sringar Rasa or the rasa related to love is associated with each of these Naika, but then two different types of Sringar. One type is Sambhog or love in meeting or union or consummation. The other is the Sringar existing in Vipralambha, love in separation. So, Vasakasajja, Swadhina Vatruka and Abhisarika are associated with Sambhog or love in union. All other types of Naika are associated with Vipralambha or love in separation. Next, we are going to talk about the figure of the Vidushak. Vidushak is a court jester or a clown. In any Sanskrit drama, he is commonly seen, and Vidushak is usually an old member of a dramatic troupe. Bharat mentions Vidushak along with the hero, the heroine and other actors as receiving divine protection in a stage performance. So, the value of the Vidushak as a source of entertainment is very obvious, it is apparent. Sanskrit drama in the process of development had adopted two major themes, two principal themes of dramatic compositions. One is love, the other is heroism. So, Bharat Muni considers that laughter or pleasure, which is the essential contribution of the court jester or Vidushak, is closely connected with the concept of love. Love and laughter, love and pleasure cannot be decoupled, cannot be divorced. So, the Vidushak naturally has a place or a position as a companion of the hero in the comedy of love. Love and comedy are two genres that are interspersed and go parallelly, almost kind of wedded to each other and developing each other, developing the plot through speaking to each other and drawing on one another. So, Bharat mentions four types of Vidushak. Lingi or Tapas, who is associated with the celestial hero. So, depending on the status or the social position of the hero, the Vidushak's type also changes. If the hero is a celestial one, then the Vidushak will be Lingi or Tapasa. Next, we have the royal hero who is accompanied by the Dvija or Brahmin Vidushak. Next, we have a hero who is a minister or a merchant. If the hero or the male protagonist, the Nayak, hails from the merchant class, then his companion Vidushak will be a Rajajivi or a royal employee. Finally, if the hero is a Brahmin preceptor or Brahmin teacher, then the Vidushak is generally a Shishya or pupil who accompanies this preceptor. Now, in the existing Sanskrit dramatic literature, out of these four types of Vidushaks, only the Brahmin and the pupil, these two types of Vidushaks have survived. The first type survives in the Natak, Natika and Prakarana types of plays, which are comedies of love. And the second type survives in the Prahasans. So, the Vidushak attached to a merchant hero is supposed to be a rogue. He is depicted as ugly in appearance and his speech and gesture are usually uncouth. This type is no longer found in the surviving dramatic texts. The hero of Shudraka's Mrichakatika, Shudraka's play Mrichakatika, is a Brahmin merchant named Charudatta. But his companion, the Vidushak, Maitreya, does not necessarily embody the qualities of the Rajajivi. There are just some similarities where he does have a deformed head and sometimes he recourses to coarse expressions in his speech, as is akin to the Vidushak, the stock type of Vidushak, the Rajajivi, who is associated with a merchant hero. The Vidushak of a minister is supposed to touch the weak spots of others and ludicrously comment on those weak spots, speak wittily, use commonly use some obscene expressions and language, and he is also expected to arrange for entertainment for the pleasure seeking women. The most common type in existing Sanskrit drama texts is the Brahmin Vidushak, who figures as the companion of the royal hero. The Brahmin Vidushak or jester's speech and wit are comparatively a little more refined, not very coarse. He is not shown as a roguish character. He has a somewhat, linguistically speaking, he has a higher level, and he is supposed to have the capacity or the ability to make even the cultured or the elite audience laugh. He can elicit laughter even from a cultured audience. So, Sanskrit dramatists have used the Brahmin Vidushak's pretentious character, his ignorance about Ved and Shastras, his gluttony, his cowardice as a source for evoking laughter. So, in the course of time, all these traits, however, the different stock types and their characteristics, the respective characteristics of these different stock types of Vidushaks have lost their freshness, their spontaneity. In the later dramas, we see that the figure of the Vidushak tends to become more stereotypical, more mechanical and almost predictable. Bharat says that laughter or hasya arises out of sringar or love. So, this combination of love and laughter is possible only when an improper or a ridiculous element is introduced in the demonstration of love. In the saga of love, there has to be a jester figure who in turn, you know, has very important roles in the twists and turns of the plot. All kinds of confusions or errors, ludicrous errors happen due to the presence of this Vidushak, right? And it enables the plot to move forward. Bharat's statement that laughter is derivable from love and it is available through the friendly mode of address, also known as Vayasva. The Vayasva, or friendly communication established between the royal hero and his companion, the Vidushak, within the convention of drama, defines this Vidushak's position as the hero's friend in the course of the romantic comedy, right? So, he will always accompany the hero and evoke some laughter through dialogue. The function and role of the Vidushak have also been firmly established in the later dramatic theory, so that the Vidushak is often described as Kamasachiv or Narmasachiv, a minister of love or pleasantry of the royal hero. They are, entertaining, constantly entertaining the protagonists. The Vidushak performs a twofold function as the hero's companion within the frame of the plot, within the story of love. He assists the hero to fulfill his love for the heroine or the Naika, and in the moments of unfulfilled love, in the moments of distress, sorrow, separation or viraha, this jester figure, the Vidushak, provides necessary comic diversion or relief for the Nayak through words of hope, words of encouragement, and he also amuses the Nayak with his speech and behavior. The most important function of the Vidushak is therefore to evoke laughter, to provide entertainment, to provide some form of comic diversion or comic relief. According to Bharat, the Vidushak can evoke laughter principally in three ways: through his body or bodily gestures, through his costume or the props, the way he dresses up, and finally through his speech, the dialogue that the Vidushak delivers. With this, we come to the end of our lecture today, and let's meet again with another round of discussions in another lecture. Thank you.